Empire. Back in the saddle just in time because it's draft week. What's up, everybody? It's Mike Jones. Thanks for coming back for another episode of the Football Jones podcast. You can read me at usatoday.com. Follow me on Twitter and Instagram at @ByMikeJones. And yes, we're talking NFL draft. I don't know about you guys, but I'm really happy that we're going to have a little bit of action. This has been a weird time. It's obviously not going to be the normal huge hoopla draft production that we're used to, but I think that we're going to see some creativity from the NFL and from the networks, and the most important thing, we're going to find out where some of these players go. And one of the most intriguing guys in the draft and his prospects is Tua Tagovailoa from Alabama, and he is my guest this week. We're going to talk to him about his process, about this whole offseason as he's worked his way back from his hip injury and surgery, how he's learned and tried to prepare for the NFL, and what it's going to be like not having OTAs, possibly not playing in front of fans, and just how he's approaching all of this. Really impressive young man. We're going to get to that interview right now. All right, Tua, so how are you, man? Now that you're, this is draft week is finally here. What's it been like, and what does it feel like now that all the preparation, I guess, the hay's kind of in the barn, so to speak, and now here we go.
Man, it feels really good. This has been a dream my entire life to be able to be in this position that I'm in right now. And then to get an opportunity to get drafted. I mean, it's been a dream my entire life to play in the NFL. And this is just going to be another chapter in my life. And it's an opportunity for me to be able to help my parents now, help change their lives, not just mine, and kind of better it, So.
Right. Now, I imagine that, there's a lot of, we know there's been ups and downs for you and everything like that. Did you ever have any doubt that you would get here to this point, that it actually was going to happen?
I would say I had no doubts. For me, regardless of if I'm the first pick, if I'm the last pick, I mean, whatever team takes a chance on me, I'm grateful. And I believe that, whatever team does, decide to pick me, I mean, that's the team that I'm meant to be on. So.
Gotcha. How did you get through this whole off season? Because you've had a lot of crazy stuff. You obviously you had the rehab, and then you were training in Nashville. You had the tornado. I understand you had to move from where you were staying. Your car got totaled. You didn't just have, you couldn't go on the regular pre-draft visits and everything like that. But what's been the key to maintaining your focus and dealing with all this kind of a roller coaster off season?
Man, I would say that's been my entire life, adversity. I've dealt through adversity, since I can remember. I had to deal with it in high school when my grandfather passed away. And, I had to deal with it in college, my freshman year. My grandmother passed away. Both my dad's parents passed away. And then, my sophomore year, I ended up getting injured with my knee and then my ankle. And then the following year was the same thing. So it's kind of been there my entire life. I think the biggest thing about adversity, though, is what's next. What can you do next to better the situation, to help out the situation, or to move forward from it.
Now, so talk about your grandparents a little bit and what kind of a force they were in your life, and how your family got through the loss of them. And, did it impact you on the football field? How did you deal with all that swirling around you?
Yeah, so with my grandfather was kind of the person who set the foundation for us as far as this entire football thing. And so when he passed away, that was when I had an opportunity for my first start to play as a sophomore. And throughout that process, I had to make a decision on whether I was going to go to the funeral or play in the game, because they were both on the same day. It was on a Saturday. I was really contemplating on the entire football thing, but kind of sat down with my parents, and this entire football thing wouldn't be possible without him. And so we thought that I'd forego going to the funeral, and I'd go play, because that's what my grandfather would want. So that was kind of the start to all of this. And before my first game, I believe, or it was after my first game, I ended up getting my first offer too. So I think with every bad, there's always a good that usually comes out of it, whether it's a lesson, whether it's something someone tells you, someone reaches out to you with. So I think throughout that, the way I dealt with it was the support of my family. And that's how we kind of dealt with all of our adversity, was just being around each other, the support we have with one another and for one another through difficult situations like that.
Gotcha. So how did your grandfather, what did he do to put you on that football path?
He actually, it was my dad who he kind of talked to a lot about that.
Okay.
And so ever since I can remember growing up, that's all it was for me, man. It was football. My parents try to allow me to play other sports, but I just didn't like it. It was too slow for me. I just didn't want to learn any other sport or try to pick another sport up. So.
Gotcha. So you said with every bad, there's been a good. What are some of the goods that have come through? I mean, you had injuries. You had to go through multiple surgeries in college. And what are some of the goods that came from the bads that you dealt with along that way, and then now as well?
Man, when you go through adversity, you learn who you are as a person. You have a lot of alone time with yourself, because it's really you doing that process by yourself. You can have the support from your family, you can have support from everyone else, but man, the biggest thing I see while people go through like rehab and trying to get back into what they love is a lot of them they don't try to have perspective for everyone else. So I mean, I see a lot of people complaining about their situation they're in and whatnot. I mean, the situation that I've been put in, it's I can't change it, So I mean, why have a bad attitude about it?
Yeah.
So I mean, it's a reflection on how you train yourself to be. So just try to have a positive attitude about all of those things, and believe that it'll work out in the best. But to really answer your question, I would say with every bad there is a good. For me, it's been in a sense where, I mean, I had a lot of people reach out. At the same time, it's been people that I look up to. I mean, I listen to their music. You got like big time pastors, you got big time music guys, just telling you that they support you and whatnot. So I would say that's been pretty good for me.
Gotcha. When I was talking to Trent Dilfer about you, he says that for you, you understand that the journey is just as, if not more important than the destination. How did you develop that kind of mindset? Because it's really hard. I mean, it's easy to look ahead and be like, okay, this is where I want to go. And you don't really look at all the steps along the way. And you want to skip through all the process just to get to that destination. Where did you learn that was the best approach, and how do you maintain that focus and not get ahead of yourself?
Yeah, I would say it started from home. It started with my dad. My dad kind of helped me throughout my entire life with that. I believe that hard work isn't something that you're born with. It's something that's either created. It's something that you're wanting to do, you're longing to do, because you see others as examples, of hard work, and you kind of emulate their image of what hard work means to you. And so for me, that's how it's been my entire life with my dad. He's kind of helped shape and mold me to the man that I am today. And that, I mean, I would say that goes to say that, man, a lot of my success is not just mine, but it's his. And then with the support and help of my mom throughout those years.
What did they tell you as you were, obviously everybody dreams of going to the combine and performing. You know, you see as a kid, you watch the throwing, the running, and everything like that. And not to be able to take part in that, you didn't convey any dismay or frustration there that week at the podium when you're talking about it. Right now, you don't sound like you were bitter about any of that stuff. How did you approach the combine going through that, knowing like, man, like I really would like to show what I can do, but I can't?
Yeah, given the circumstances, I understood I couldn't.
Mm-hmm.
I wasn't going to be able to because I wasn't cleared medically. So for me, I just wanted to go over there. My goal was to win the combine through my medical, and that's how I took it. I ran with it in that sense. I prepared for my medical. I knew they're gonna poke and prod me, so I understood what I was getting into, and I knew I wasn't gonna be doing anything else. So that for me, that was my big day, and I was just focused on that,
Gotcha.
and as well as the interviews.
Yeah. Well, then I imagine that you got grilled pretty well in those interviews, and in the FaceTimes leading up to the draft. What has that process been like for you? What have teams wanted to know about you?
Yeah, man. I wouldn't say the teams wanted to know that much about me because I believe they already knew
Uh-huh.
as much as they wanted to. Asking coaches, asking elementary teachers, asking high school teachers. I mean, asking everyone. But I would say the process, man, has been totally different. But I mean, it's only due to COVID
Uh,
and man, I would say this is the times we're living in, though. This we gotta learn to adapt to change, and we gotta learn how to move forward with all of this. So it's been different. Just a lot of Zoom calls, getting on the phone with teams, communicating with them in that sense. But man, it's definitely hard, especially when there's connection failures and everything has to be perfect. Whereas when you're just in the room with them, everything works smoothly.
I mean, and you very well could be like, look, you kind of got screwed. This is where you need to show what you can do physically. You know, you would love to be in front of their doctors, as much as annoying as that poking and prodding all is. Having a pro day with all the scouts and everything in front of you. I imagine that's pretty frustrating that you didn't get to go through all that stuff, but you still got a smile on your face right now.
Well, for me, I would say it's not as frustrating as people would think.
Okay.
It's just a bummer, I would say, that our draft class isn't able to experience the same things that the other draft classes prior to us have experienced. That's probably the biggest thing. We get drafted and we're not going to be able to fly out to the team and see their facilities and kind of be with them in that sense. But man, it's still awesome. I think it's still great that we have this opportunity, at least that it's still going on through this pandemic that we're going through.
Right. Now, what has been the biggest thing you learned from working with Trent? I talked to Kim Wisenhunt too as well, and he talked about, he loaded your brain down with a bunch of football information, like kind of went through a rookie install, and then you had to come back a couple days and repeat all that stuff. What have you learned from Ken, from Trent, on just what to expect for this whole process of actually learning NFL-style football and how different it is from college?
Well, in a sense of the difference between NFL and college, you get a lot more time spent with your coaches. You get a lot more time spent going over installs and doing this and that, questioning them. Whereas in the NFL, it's more so you have to take ownership of your own thing. You have to take ownership of setting up meetings with guys, setting up meetings with your coaches. And that's really, really how it is. I guess the biggest thing that I've learned from both of them is embrace hard. You got to embrace hard. You in order for everything to become easy, it must be hard first. And so that's what their message to me has been. And with Ken, it's been hard with the installs that he's given me, with plays that we've gone over and things like that. And with Trent, the training has been pretty difficult as well. So that's their biggest thing, I would say.
Has football ever been hard for you until now?
Man, football. I believe you make it hard for yourself, not in the game, but you make it hard for yourself in practices and times when you're training, your alone time, to where when it does come time to the game, your preparation has prepared you so well that it makes it so much easier.
Gotcha. So how do you figure out you want to stay the same aggressive guy that you are, but then also learning how to protect yourself, how to operate in tighter quarters, faster clock. It all happens so much faster. How do you still be aggressive, not worry about injury and things like that, but keep playing? What are some of those things that you and Trent went over like that?
Well, I believe man, I still wouldn't change a thing. The biggest thing for me though is you want to be aggressive, but you just got to pick and choose when to do so. I mean, as a competitor, I don't think anyone, anyone wants to give up on a play that easily. But like I said, you just don't want to, man. You just don't want to do that as a competitor.
Yeah.
But you live and you learn. And for me, I've I've had to learn the the tough way, the hard way. But I believe I'll be better for all of it.
What were some ways that Trent helped you speed up that clock? Because you didn't have, Jadeveon Clowney or somebody rushing at you, but I know you guys talked about defenders and things. So what were the methods that you guys used to help you operate a little more quickly and pick and choose when to cut bait?
Well, it's usually at the top of my drop. So at the top of my drop, I'd either have a ghost movement, I'd have like a hop step, like jumping forward, kind of jumping back and throwing it really off my back foot. So we try to make possible scenarios really uncomfortable to where in-game scenarios through those practice scenarios would be kind of easy, and it's not awkward when it does happen.
That's tricky though, because you want to have the strong fundamentals, but throwing off your back foot isn't always the greatest thing at the same time. What do you focus on to make sure that even though you might have to slide or throw it around a guy or operate, you still are delivering with the best possible technique?
Well, I think it's totally different. Football is this weird thing, man, because when you're in high school and you're playing little leagues, I mean, you think, oh man, I have all the time in the world. And then you move it up to high school, it's like, okay, now I have a little bit more time. And then it's like you go to college, and college is like, well, the guys are faster, but I still have this pocket that I'm able to sit in and throw in. And then you get to the NFL, and it's like you're playing in a phone booth where everything is just so compact. And man, it goes from very comfortable to like very uncomfortable really, really, really quick. And so I would say that's probably maybe 80% of NFL throws, if not 99%.
Gotcha.
You're gonna have to be moving. You're gonna have to make uncomfortable throws, but your guys don't really care. The receivers don't care about what's going on in the back there. Just get them the ball.
Right.
So you got to worry about all of that.
Gotcha. So what do you think this year is going to be like? Obviously, it'd be great if you had rookie mini camp to go to, OTAs to go to. That stuff's all going to be online. You're not going to have training camp. You might not even be playing in front of fans, and you're used to playing in huge stadiums. When you think about all that, what do you imagine, and how do you think you adjust to it?
Man, that'll be hard. Like in a sense where you're so used to playing against guys and you're hearing crowd noise, and I believe the crowd makes the biggest difference, and whether you're the away team or the home team. As far as quarterbacks, I would say that'd make it pretty easy for us in a way, because we can hear what we're saying. Everyone can hear us. Sliding the protection, we want to change a route. There's not too many. There's not even noise that we really need to worry about. So there's a loud echo when we're talking probably. And so I mean, like I said, this is the times we're living in, and if that's how it's gonna be, if that's how the game's gonna be for a season or two, we got to learn to adapt to it.
Gotcha. What's the best type of situation for you? I know it's great to play right away. Sometimes guys benefit from sitting. We've seen guys succeed either way. So when you look at, okay, you can't control who you picked by, but what's the ideal situation for you and your next step of your career?
I would say if I had it my way, I'd love to start right away, but I can see both scenarios working out if I'm the guy from the get-go, or if I have to sit behind someone and learn from a veteran. I mean, that'd be awesome too. I get the opportunity to see what a game week preparation looks like in veterans' eyes, and learn from that and learn from them. And use that when I get that opportunity to play.
Gotcha. And when you go through this, what's one thing that you'll take from your lessons of the last month with Trent, with Ken, just to help you kind of navigate the rest of this offseason?
Man, I mean, I would say it goes back to embracing hard, just embrace it. Things will go by. Everything will tend to get easier, but you got to continue to embrace hard, even through those easy times.
Gotcha. And then last one, what's Thursday night? What's that setup going to be like? I imagine you'll have family around. Do you let yourself think of what it's going to be like when your phone rings and Team X says, "Hey, Tua, you're our guy"?
Oh man, that's gonna be an emotional day, man. I don't know who's gonna be more emotional though. It's gonna be me or my parents or my siblings. But I mean, this is what we've worked hard for our entire lives. And this is what you dreamed of as a kid. And for me, man, to make that dream come true, to be able to say that my dream has came true, not too many kids get that chance, and I'm very blessed that I'll hopefully get that opportunity.
Good deal, Tua. Well, best of luck to you on Thursday, and hopefully soon you'll be back on the field, and
For sure.
I'll be able to catch you in one of those early preseason training camp practices or whatever, and meet you in
For
person.
sure. Appreciate it, man. Thank you, Mike.
Thanks a lot.
All right.
There you have it. Hope you enjoyed that. I don't know about you, but I am really pulling for Tua. I just really am impressed with his outlook on life, his outlook on this whole process. I feel like he's a really talented young man, and I think he's a really sharp, intelligent young man. Talking to Trent Dilfer and Ken Wisenhunt, who have been working with him very closely to prepare him for the NFL. Both of them had nothing but good things to say, really talked about his maturity and his learning process and how quickly he picks things up. There was a report late last week that he had a low Wonderlic score, but it turns out that score was from his sophomore year. The score from his junior year was a 19, which was better than the sophomore year, but even in that one, he hadn't really prepared for it. And talking to Ken Wisenhunt, he said, "You know what? I heard the Wonderlic thing. It's not a problem. It's not an issue. This kid has no problem processing information and learning and executing." And so he's really looking forward to seeing how he does. He feels like you only have to show him things a couple times and he picks it up. He crammed his brain with as much information as he could just to test him. Took him through basically an install process, all the meetings that an NFL quarterback would go through, and then the next day he would drill him on it and have him draw up those plays and everything. And Tua responded in a very impressive fashion, and so he's not concerned about that. Trent Dilfer has been working with him about getting rid of the ball more quickly, finding ways to protect himself and not put himself in harm's way to improve his durability. So it's all going to be a process, and I am really interested in seeing how it all plays out. Where he goes, we will see. Will it be the Dolphins at number 5? Will somebody jump up there ahead of them to get him, whether it's at number 3? Where Detroit is very, very interested in trading down. I don't know. I don't think he gets past the Chargers because if the Dolphins don't take him, the Chargers will definitely want him. It'd be a perfect situation for him there to be there behind Tyrod Taylor for a little bit and then learn the ropes. But We'll see how it all plays out. Maybe there's a mystery team that wants to jump up there and trade for him. But he's my guy that I'm really going to be watching. A lot of intrigue there. Also, really curious to see where his rival Jalen Hurts, who transferred from Alabama to Oklahoma, goes. I've heard, Senior Bowl, people were saying late round, maybe 4th, 5th round. Since then, since the whole draft process has unfolded, people have been very impressed with him. He's improved his stock. He could go as high as the 2nd round. So we will see. Hope you guys are doing well. Thanks again for listening. Read me at usatoday.com. Follow me on Twitter and Instagram at @ByMikeJones. Take this link, share it with your friends. Please go give me a review, and I will talk to you guys next week when the Football Jones podcast rolls on.